Voices in the Walls.it was a bleak Thursday in mid-December when Ryan Kessler pulled his dented pickup into Ash Hollow, a dying industrial speck in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The sky sagged with heavy, slate-gray clouds, spitting sleet that rattled against the windshield, the air bitter with rust and coal dust lingering from a steel mill long shut down. Ash Hollow had crumbled since its heyday. Empty houses slumped along cracked streets, their windows boarded or gaping, the mill's skeleton looming on the horizon, a relic of better times. Ryan, 28, jobless, freshly dumped, had come here for one reason: his granddad's old house, vacant since the old man's death 3 years back, a last-ditch roof over his head. He parked on the gravel drive, the truck coughing as it died. Ryan sat a moment, staring at the house through the haze. Brick walls, weathered red, stood sturdy but scarred, trellised with cracks, the roof sagging under moss and neglect, the porch steps bowing inward. Granddad Pete had lived here alone after the mill closed, a gruff loner who'd muttered about voices in his last days. Ryan remembered the funeral, the whispers among relatives, went crazy up there, hearing things. He shook it off. Grief, he figured, or dementia. Grabbed his duffel and stepped out, boots crunching ice, breath fogging in the dusk. Inside, the air was stale, thick with dust and the faint tang of mildew. The living room sat frozen, a faded couch, a TV with rabbit ears, a stack of yellowed newspapers by the fireplace. Ryan dropped his bag, ran a hand through his dark, unkempt hair. Tired eyes scanned the space, his stubble catching the dim light from a single bulb. He'd planned to crash here a while, figure shit out. Cheap rent, no neighbors, just silence. That first night, he lit a fire, cracked a beer from his cooler, sprawled on the couch. The house creaked around him, settling. Normal. Sleep came and easy dreams flickered, shapeless, until a sound cut through, a faint scratching, soft, insistent. Inside the walls, Ryan jolted awake, heart thudding. The fire dimmed to embers. He sat still, listening. It came again. Scrape, scrape like claws on brick, behind the fireplace, moving slow, deliberate. Rats, he muttered, rubbing his face. Old houses had pests, nothing weird, but the noise circled up the wall, across the ceiling, then stopped, leaving a chill he couldn't shake. Friday morning dawned cold, gray light seeping through grimy curtains. Ryan shuffled to the kitchen, brewed coffee in a pot he'd found in a cupboard, its handle chipped. He paused, mug halfway to his lips. On the counter, bits of plaster, fine as sand, dusted the edge, a trail leading to a crack in the wall. He leaned closer. Narrow, jagged and froze, thin, dry fingers poked out, bony, gray, trembling faintly. He blinked. They vanished. Nothing there but brick, rough still. What the fuck? He whispered, stepping back, coffee spilling hot on his hand. He grabbed a flashlight, checked the walls. Cracks everywhere, some shallow, some deep, snaking through the brick like veins. No holes, no nest, just plaster dust, a faint gritty smell, like damp stone. Mind's playing tricks, he told himself, shaking it off. Stress, loneliness, whatever. But that night, the scratching returned, louder, joined by voices. Low, raspy, overlapping. Ryan hissing his name, threading through the walls. You're one of us. He sat up, sweat beading, the room dark. Nothing moved, but the sound burrowed into his skull. Saturday. He woke rough, his hands itched, skin on his palms thickening, coarse like sandpaper, nails duller, harder. He flexed them stiff, odd cut his thumb with a kitchen knife to test it. Gray dust trickled out, no blood, just powder, dry as ash. No way, he gasped, dropping the blade. It clattered loud, his pulse racing. He ran water over it, scrubbed, but the dust kept seeping, slow, relentless. The voices grew harsher, closer, come closer. Ryan and the walls pulsed, cracks widening, then shrinking, breathing. He paced, frantic, grabbed a hammer, smashed at the brick. Chunks fell, but the wall held. The voices laughing now. You can't leave. From a crack near the sink, a hand emerged, long, skeletal, gray as cement, fingers stretched, clawing air, reaching for his leg. He swung the hammer. It snapped back. Inside, the plaster sealed shut, smooth, mocking. His chest tightened. Fear. Real, sharp. He called Mark, his buddy from Detroit. Man, get up here. Something's fucked. Mark rolled in. Sunday afternoon, stocky, bearded, skeptical, cracked a joke as he stepped inside. You finally lost it, huh? Ryan showed him the dust on his hands, the cracks. Mark frowned. Dude, you're freaking me out. Then the voices hit. Mark, low, guttural. He froze, eyes widening. You hear that? Ryan nodded. Mark stumbled to the wall, pressed his ear, then collapsed, limp, out cold. 10 minutes later, he woke, eyes cloudy, voice flat. They want you, Ryan, and grabbed a shovel, dragging him toward the basement stairs. Ryan fought, kicked, yelled. Mark, snap out of it. But his friend's grip was iron, dragging him down, the shovel scraping concrete. The basement loomed dark, damp, walls glistening wet. Mark swung, aiming to bury him in a corner. Stay with them, but Ryan broke free, shoved him hard. Mark hit the wall, slumped, groaning. Ryan bolted upstairs, doors gone, windows bricked over. The house shifted, walls closing in, slow, deliberate, a trap snapping shut. Monday, he barely stood, legs heavy, stone-like, dragging as he moved. His voice rasped, gritty, like sand in his throat. The voices roared, join us. Ryan, hands burst from every crack, dozens, gray, grasping, nails scraping his arms, his face. He stumbled to a closet, found Granddad's journal pages brittle, ink faded, mill collapsed. 78 men trapped. Walls took them alive now, hungry. Don't listen. Ryan's knees buckled, his feet rooted, brick creeping up his shins, fusing him to the floor. Tuesday, he fought, smashed a wall with a sledgehammer. Brick crumbled, revealing black nothing. A void. Hands shot out, long, twisted, pulling. His arms, his chest. He screamed, voice fading into dust, swallowed by the hum. His body sank, skin hardened, eyes locked open, staring as the wall closed around him. Bricks sealed, smooth, his face a faint bulge. Trapped, alive. The house fell still, silent, waiting. Full. A week passed. Mrs. Carter, the nosy widow, next door, crept in, curious, muttering, where's that boy? The house stood empty, furniture dusty, air thick, but a whisper brushed her ear. Ellen, from the walls, soft, inviting. She froze, her shadow hit the brick, stretched, long, trembling, and a crack split open, slow, hungry, reaching.